All right, so let's choose a color here. I'm feeling good about that blue. Would anybody like to give me the first one? Because it should only take 2 seconds. X plus 7 and x minus 7. All these, of course, are worth 1. This one's slightly trickier. What is it? Is it a square minus a square? 29 is a square, 25 is a square, x squared is a square, y squared is a square, so it's 3x minus 5y and 3x plus 5y. Now you'll notice I switched the plus and the negative here. Why did I do that? Because it doesn't matter, and I don't want people saying, is it all right if it's plus 5y and then minus 5y? Okay? Doesn't matter. This one, does this one work? No, because 2 is not a square. But you can do this move, which you're supposed to do every time anyway. What is that move? GCF. So you take out a 2, and you get x squared minus 25. That works. 2x plus 5, x minus 5. Yeah? X to the 4th, x squared plus 1, x squared minus 1. If you stop there, you get a half mark. Why? Because x squared minus 1 breaks down into x plus 1 and x minus 1. Don't stop if you can continue to factor. You already know how to do this one. You got to multiply to 60 and add to negative 17, which is, of course, x minus 12 and x minus 5. This is a plus 11, a minus 11. What do I got to do to number 7? I got to GCF it. I think I heard somebody say that. X squared minus 16, which is, of course, 3x plus 4, x minus 4. A cubed and a, factor out an a squared minus 16, which we know to be a plus 4, a minus 4. 8a and 72, bring out the 8. A squared minus 9, 8, a minus 3, a plus 3. This one's tricky, but not really. Because if it was this, 9 minus x squared, that's square and square, isn't it? Okay. Well, 1/9 is also a perfect square, right? What's the square root of 1 over 9? 1/3 plus x, 1/3 minus x. This one, multiply to negative 5, add to negative 4. So it is x plus 5, I lie, x plus 1, x minus 5. This one is multiply to 9, add to 6, x plus 3, x plus 3. I would also accept x plus 3 squared. Both of them are fine. And that is x to the 4th plus 4, x to the 4th minus 4. But if you stop there, you only get a half mark because that is, of course, x squared plus 2, x squared minus 2. I have to stop there. Why? Because 2 is not a perfect square. Right? Okay. Give yourself a mark out of 13 while I deal with the people who have trouble with time. Give yourself a mark out of 13, and on your quiz, which I am going to give you after we've gone over the next couple of pages, I will be reminding you of this. On that quiz, you are going to put a score out of 25, and that will cover your second assignment for factoring. That score is made up of page 134 plus page 131. So whatever you got on those two, you're going to add them up for a score out of 25. And then we are all on page 135. Now, I, of course, do not wish to spend the whole time talking, so I'm going to ask for volunteers. You cannot say it, or I can just go through the class. Who's going to give number 1 to me? Anybody? Yes, Sartosh, hit me. X squared. X minus 16. That? Let's see, does that work? What was your first step? Because when I multiply this out, I get x squared minus 17x plus 16, yes? But you've got an x squared out in front, right? So that gives me x to the 4th. That's correct. Minus 17x. What's x squared times x? X cubed. I didn't need x cubed, did I? Okay, so I like what you were doing. That's really good. You're trying to factor it out, right? Okay, but it didn't work. How do you know it doesn't work? You check it at the end, right? Anybody else got something for here? Zach?
X squared minus 16 multiplied by x squared minus 1.
Squared minus 1. That. Now, does that work? Well, let's check. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Negative 1x, negative 16x, negative 16x squared. Negative 16 times negative 1 is positive 16. That's really good, except what's wrong with it, because it's not quite done. I can break down both of those, can't I? That is x plus 4, x minus 4, and x plus 1, and x minus 1. Okay, now again, if you're confused by this stuff, always go back to what you know. If you wrote this, or if this question was that x squared minus 17x plus 16, you could factor it easily, right? Because you would want to multiply to 16 and add to negative 17, which is 16 and 1, right? So you would factor it normally, but then you just got to go back and check. But it's not x times x. It would have been x squared times x squared. So you put the squared back in, and then you notice those are both factorable. Do you understand what I'm saying? One of the biggest mistakes that you guys make in math is you look at every question like it's totally new, like you don't know anything about it. You don't make any connections to what you already know. And if this question had said x squared and no x there, or no squared there, you could have done that in your sleep. Do you understand what I'm saying? Try it. What's this? Who's up? I'll wait patiently for volunteers. Or I could pick on you at random. The smart thing to do would be to say an answer right now that you're sure of. Then I won't pick on you at random and have you tell me that thing where you say, oh, that's the only one I didn't do on the page. That lie that kids tell all the time. X plus 10, x minus 3. Nice job, Jimmy. See how that works? Now you're off the hook. I won't call on you. And you know you were right. Way to go, buddy. Tira. Woo-wee! Look at this. 4. Jeshen. Yep. Yeah, but why aren't you doing that? Because 2 is not a square. I was trying to fool you there. I couldn't even fool you. I'm in a bit of a bad mood today, ladies and gentlemen. I went to the gas station to get my coffee today. And they had this syrup bar where you can add flavor. And I don't normally like that, but I was seduced by it. It was a very nice syrup bar. There were all kinds of... It was clean. It was tidy. There were all these, 20 flavors. I was like, I'm just going to put one little squirt of vanilla in my coffee. Just one. It's a giant coffee. It'll be fine. No. Now it tastes like bum. And I don't want to drink it. But if I don't drink it, I'll get a headache because I'm addicted to caffeine. And when you don't get your caffeine, you get a headache. Just like when you don't get any drug or stimulant you're addicted to, you go through withdrawal symptoms. So I don't want a headache. So I have to drink this, not because I like it. I'm actually really mad at myself because I never do it. And I was seduced by the pretty syrup thing. Let that be a lesson to you. Do not be... Looks change. Tastes like poo is forever. Understand? Everybody can make that analogy to real life? Okay. Because teachers should explain real life to you. That's really the only thing we can do. Because every piece of information we give you is already available to you on the internet if you were to look it up. I don't know anything you guys don't have the ability to know 5 seconds from now. So I have to tell you about life. What are you doing with 5? I don't know what to do with 5, Mr. Myers. It's an x cubed. We've never done x cubes. But if it was squared and nothing, could you do it? Well, so how are you going to get rid of that x, and that x? You're going to divide it by x. You're going to GCF it. Then you're going to have x squared plus 8x plus 16. And now that is super easy to factor because it is... Pardon? What's this? You got to factor this part only. What is it? X plus 4, and then you could be lazy and square it. Right? Nice. That's why you came in late. You didn't even need to be here for the first part. You just know how to do it. Uh-huh. This one, who's doing 6? It's another easy one. Amrit, hit me. X plus 11, x minus 7. You're so close. You have all the right numbers. But when you check, 11 minus 7 is positive 4, isn't it? What did I need? Negative 4. So it just needs to be minus 11 plus 7. And how do you know if you're right? You check it at the end. Who's doing 7? It's another easy one. Who wants to get off the hook? Isha, hit me. X minus 5. X minus 3. Nicely done. Oh, who's doing 10? Ooh, scary. Except it's not. That's my Hotel Transylvania voice. I cannot wait for Hotel Transylvania 3. I had forgotten how good they were. My kids just watched Hotel Transylvania 1 on Netflix a couple of weeks ago. I'd forgotten how good it was. It's extra funny for me now because I'm a dad and my daughter is almost 12 and my son is 14. My son's on that TV show, so girls are starting to notice my son. But my son is so stupid he doesn't get it. All these girls are wanting to take pictures with him all the time so they can put him on social media and stuff. My son, idiot, still says, oh, they're just the boys. Oh, God, son. How stupid can you be? But I don't want to say that to him, right, because he's my boy. I want to tell him how dumb he is, right? But he's got these girls that line up to hang out with him, and he's like, oh, they're just the boys. And my daughter is kind of cute, too, and she's 12, and I'm getting worried. But I don't want to be like Adam Sandler in Hotel Transylvania. I want to be a more, forward-thinking progressive father. But who knows? Anyway, what are we doing with 8? What are we doing with 8? We're GCFing. What is the GCF? 4. So 4 is coming out. X squared minus x minus 12. And that is, of course, x plus 3, x minus 4. Who's doing 9? It's an easy one. Indy, go! X plus 12, x minus 2. Whoo, doggy! Nice work. Oh my God. Who's doing 10? Everybody's eyes go down. I love it when you get to a question like that. Who's doing 10? And all of you just went like this. All of you. Don't be wusses. Somebody can do 10. Okay. This is a good one for explaining how easy this actually is. What about 10 bothers you? What bugs you? You can all look, there's a reason all of you looked down when I said who's doing number 10. You're all scared of it. What scares you? What do you mean it's too long, Jimmy? Okay, was everyone able to do number 9? In your sleep, right? So if you can make number 10 look like number 9, could you do it in your sleep? Great, so let's make that happen. What is different between 10 and 9? I know all of you have eyes. This is like I Spy. I spy with my little eye something that is scared of math. All of you. Okay? Or better yet, it could be that game, warmer, warmer, colder, right? Right now, you're very cold in solving this math problem. How will you get warmer? How do you know you've almost found the thing you are looking for? The person has said, you're getting warmer, you're on fire, oh my God, get the fire extinguisher, right? So how can you make this look like this? So it's going to be easy. You're going to GCF. So that's going to look at, because GCF changes it. What is the GCF in the numbers? Okay, it's 5. So I know I've got to divide everything by 5. Is there anything else that's common? X and Y. How many X's are common to everything? 1. How many Y's? 2. So everybody had a good first step. So we write it 5xy squared. And what's this new one? 5 cancels, y's cancel. It's going to be x squared. What's this in the middle? Plus 2xy. And this minus 24 y squared. Now, if there was no y here, would it look just like this? And do we know how to factor this? So let's factor it. It's going to be x. What multiplies 24 and adds 2? 6 and 4, right? Plus 6 minus 4. Plus 6, x minus 4. And we're almost done, except I need a y squared at the end. So how do I make a y squared at the end? Y times y. And now it's done. Now the problem we as math teachers have is a great many of you will still look at this. If I wrote this question again in 5 minutes with slightly different numbers, and I said, everybody go, you would all go like this. Because you would say, oh, I've never seen anything like that before. But all of you can GCF in your sleep. Well, at least apparently you think you can. Because the last assignment I took in, everybody got like 13 out of 14 on it. And the half of that was GCFing. So unless you're all lying, all of you can GCF. And then the second assignment I took in had this factoring on it, which was this. And again, all of you said you got great grades on it. So unless you're all lying there, you can do that. Why is putting them together causing a problem for you? That's kind of like saying, well, Mr. Mars, I know how to add and I know how to multiply, but I can't possibly do 3 times 2 plus 7. There's no chance. I can't put it together. Understand the problem here? What's 11? Now all the hands will go back up, because 11's an easy one. Go. Oh, are we at the point where I start picking on people? Oh, Sale. X plus 5, x minus 6. Beauty. Who's doing 12? Vikram.
3x open bracket
Yep.
plus 4y close bracket.
3x, 3 plus 4y, close brackets. Beauty. Who's doing 13? Wow. See what I mean? It's exactly like 10. It's exactly like 10. Jazzkarn.
5 bracket x plus 9 bracket x minus 1.
Absolutely. And 14. Also exactly like 9 and 10. Or exactly like 10 and 13. What's coming out? What? Y is coming out. And then it's x plus 7 and x plus 1. Yay! 15, another easy one. Who hasn't answered one for me yet? Avian, how you doing, kid?
I got bracket x plus 6, bracket x minus 9.
That's exactly what it is. Now, 16, 17, and 18 actually are a slight bit trickier. I've given you lots of ways to solve this. My personal favorite, the one I like to use, is I make the thing that bothers me another letter. So I write x plus 3 equals a, and then I rewrite it. 2a minus 3y times a. And I see that a is in both of them, isn't it? So I divide both by a. It's a GCF situation. A goes on the outside, and 2 minus 3y goes on the inside. So those are the answers to these questions. Now, a is nowhere in this question, is it? Because a is x plus 3. So I take that a, and I rewrite it as x plus 3. And now I'm done. Now, a great many of you don't need on this question to do that, because a great many of you can see that what I have highlighted in yellow is obviously a factor, and the other one is a factor. And since they are both the same factor, you know they are common, and you are just subbing that out. You're dividing this by x plus 3. Then your GCF goes outside, and your answers go inside. Which is fine if you can do that. But I will warn you, as we get further and further into math and it gets more and more complex, notice I said complex, not complicated or difficult. Because all complex means is you do the same basic stuff that you know how to do in math over and over and over again until it gets simple. Eventually, these yellow things are going to be really, really yucky. Big polynomials. So if you get used to this substituting thing, it will help you out later on. One of the big mistakes you guys make is a question like this. You do in your head. Because the answer is 7, isn't it? Right? But then we give you this question. 2x plus 7.3 equals 11.7. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I can't do algebra. Right? All of you have felt this at some point in your life, right? You can all do that question. You have trouble with this question. Yeah? Even though all you did here was minus 3, right? But because you don't actually write it out and practice it, you do these easy ones in your head. When you get to this, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. This is so easy you can do it in your head. But get used to practicing what you're going to need later. Understand what I'm saying? Right? If you play a sport, choose the sport. If you can throw a ball, technically, can you play baseball? Can you? Because you're set, right? You can throw. Is that really true? No. Same thing here. So this one, you could do the easy thing, right? And recognize that those are common factors, yeah? And you could divide this all by 2x minus 1. So 2x minus 1 goes on the outside. And what's inside? 6x plus 4, right? Now, most of you are going to stop there. Because you've done math. And you're like, okay, I'm done. What do you notice about that binomial? Is there a common factor between 6 and 4? 2. So you're going to bring out a 2, 3x plus 2. And that 2, usually we move it out to the front. Everybody cool? If you stop there, and I'm marking this question out at 2, I'm only giving you 1.5. Maybe, depending on the kind of mood I'm in. I might only give you 1 because you've only done half the factoring, right? And this one, what makes number 18 really yucky? What's wrong with those two? They're not the same. Can they be made the same? Yes, because what is the number that is common to every single other number? 1. So if I divide this side by -1, the -1's coming out here, correct? What does the -1 out front do to that positive x? Turns it into -x. And what's 1 divided by -1 is -1. Negative x divided by -1 is positive x. Now, they're the same, aren't they? So now it becomes x minus 1 and 3 minus x. And then it's done. Is everybody good? Because I'm about to quiz you on this. Now, this page shows me if you actually know what you're doing. Because there's knowing the steps, and then there's knowing what's going on, correct? Everybody understand? So, I am betting this class is like every other class I've ever taught math to, most of this page is either blank or poorly done. Because you don't really know what I'm asking you. But nobody asked me about it yesterday. What am I asking you about? This is blank. So I need to put any integer there. An integer is any positive or negative number. All these black boxes can have any positive or negative number. Which means, how many answers are there to these questions? Infinite answers, correct? All I want is 1. So, if I was going to factor this, I would need this number that I do not know, to have factors that do what? Let me ask you this. If I gave you this, x squared plus x plus 8, no, I lie, plus 6, how would you factor that? You would need factors, 2 numbers that did what? To factor that red question, we've just done 20 pages of factoring. Somebody knows how to factor that. Sartosh. Adds to 1, correct? So most of you are going to say it's 2 and 3, correct? Or 6 and 1. They both, right? 6 and 1 won't work. 2 and 3 will work, won't it? So all of you are going to say, okay, I'm going to use 2 and 3. So it's x plus 2 x plus 3. But it's not, is it? Because 2 plus 3 doesn't get me 1. So this is not factorable. So I cannot write 6 there, can I? But could I write negative 6 there? Yes, because then it would be negative 2 plus 3, which would get me 1. 6 will work, right? So will what other number? Will 2 work? Two will work because 1 and negative 2, right? Will 12 work? Why? 4 and negative 3. Will 20 work? 5 and negative 4. Will negative 72 work? Why? 9 and 8. What do I need to make this work? That integer has to have factors that are what? 1 apart from each other. 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, so on, so on, so on, yes? Everybody know how to do 1 to 8 now? Because I'm betting it's blank on a lot of pages. Be honest if it is. Now you know how to do it? Fix it. Because I got to pee. So, is there anything different in 2? No. As long as the factors add to 1, we're good, right? So, anything. 12 would work. Except it can't be 12. What must it be? It has to be negative. What about 3? Anything different? As long as it's negative and the factors add to 1. So, I'm going to use 20. What's different about h? It's minus, right? So they still got to be 1 apart, yeah? But in this one, which one had to be negative? The larger factor or the smaller factor? The smaller factor. So x plus 5, x minus 4, right? What changes in number 4? The larger factor has to be negative. So if I use negative 30, then it's got to be x plus 5, x minus 6. Everybody understand? That's the point of this. What's different about 5? They got to be 2 apart now, yes? So as long as they're 2 apart, they will work. For example, 4 and 2. So 8 would work there. Positive or negative 8? Has to be negative 8 because I need this to be lower, right? And which one has to be the negative? The bigger one or the smaller one? Bigger one. So x plus 4, I lie, x minus 4, x plus 2. What about this one? This one's tricky as well. This time I know the 6, which means I need 2 numbers that multiply to 6, yes? And add to what? That's what's blank. That's what we got to figure out. Can I put any factors of 6 there? Could I do 1 and 6? Which means what would go there? 7. Could I do 2 and 3? Which means what would go there? 5. Could I do negative 1 and negative 6? Which means what would that be? Negative 7. Could I do negative 2 and negative 3? So what would that be? Negative 5. Picking up what I'm putting down? Okay, what about 7? What do I got to multiply to? 10. So what are the factors of 10? 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. So what could go there? 11 or 7. And then could they be negative? Yeah. Ooh, what about this one? This one's super tricky. What do you notice about that and that? What if I wrote it this way? What do you notice about 4x squared and 9y squared? They're perfect squares. But since this is plus and plus, I can't use that difference of squares thing, right? But I know that since they're both perfect squares, it must be 2x plus 9y, right? 2x times 2x, there's my 4x squared. 9y times 9y, there's my 9x squared. I've done the f of FOIL. I've done the L of FOIL. What do I need to cover? The middle. What's 2x times 9? 18. What's 2x times 9? 18. What's 18 and 18? 36. So that's the only thing that could go there, isn't it? Or could it be negative 36? Would that work? Oh, sorry, that's supposed to be 3y, not 9y. So 2 times 3, it's 6 and 6. That's actually 12. Sorry. Everybody good? Now again, this next thing is number theory. It shows me you actually know math and are not memorizing steps. Right? So if I had a rectangle and the area inside here was x squared plus 7x plus 12, I want the dimensions of the rectangle, which would be the width and the length, correct? Because area equals length times width. Now, what math is happening between L and W there? Multiply. So that makes this L a factor, doesn't it? And that makes that W factor 2. So area has two factors, length and width. So if this is my area, all I need to do is factor it, which is multiply to 12 and add to 7. So it is x plus 3 and x plus 4. Normally I would make you guys do this, but I have the utmost faith that this page probably got in a lot of people down. Even though when you stop and think about it, it's not that bad, right? You just got to change your thinking about it. How do I find the area of the shaded region? The shaded region is everything out here. How would I find that area? Right. You would do the area of the big one minus the area of the little one. Right? What's the area of the big one? 3x plus 5 times 5x minus 4. Right? Then you would subtract what? 2x plus 6 times what? X plus 2. So you do this one first, which is what? Everybody should be doing that. If you didn't do it already, you should be doing it right now. What's that? 15x squared minus 12x, and then I would move to this guy, plus 25x minus 20, correct? Stupid. Hey, Erlen, turn off my watch. Just kidding. Negative 12 plus 25 is 15x squared plus 13x minus 20, correct? Minus what? 2x squared plus 4x plus 6x plus 12, right? Which is 2x squared plus 10x plus 12. What's 15 minus 2? 13x squared. What's 13 minus 10? 13 minus 10. Positive 3x. What's negative 20 minus 12? Negative 32. If you're bad at adding and subtracting, what should you be using? Your calculator. I got 8:51. Break is at 9:15. I got your quiz right here. It is 10 GCF questions and 5 other types of questions. I think that 25 minutes is ample time to get this done. I would be happy if it were done in 15 minutes and we marked it in the last 10. When I drop this on your desk, name and a score out of what? 25. So while you're waiting to get your quiz, open your books to page 134 and 131 and add those two numbers and write that number on this quiz. Oh, Sharon, this is a real challenge for me today. Wait a minute. I always keep emergency pens and pencils, just in case. Because I'm nerdy that way. Does anybody need a quiz, or does everybody have one? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Go. You guys are not out of time. I'm just doing my stupid watch. Three more minutes be enough? take them. Actually, no. Hold on to them. You can hand them in when we've marked it, and then I'll just record the marks. 2 more minutes, and I want to mark it. Ugh, dummy. All right, let's mark. Mark your own, everything's worth 1. Decide how much it's worth. We got 5 minutes, shouldn't take too long. Remember, on these ones, if you bring out the negative, that's great, but you don't have to. Okay? I like to bring out the negative. So negative 7n cubed, and that leaves in there n cubed minus 7. If you don't have the negative out there, then you have a negative here, and that's positive. I don't care which way you did it. But I like to get the negative out front. one sec. Let me finish this one. It's possible I've made a mistake. I'm going very, very quickly. Now, where's Zach?
5, negative 2x.
Right. Should be negative x. Thank you. Any questions? Now, I did that in a minute. Well, I lied, 2 minutes. So it's possible I've got a positive or a negative in the wrong space. But for the most part, if you're close to what I have there, give yourself your full mark. Everybody good? Turn the page over. Yes, Jimmy, which one? What? Number 9? Okay. 45, 27, and 9, the common factor is 9, right? Y to the 4th, y to the 5th, y to the 6th. The y to the 4th is all I can take out. I also took a negative because I have a negative in the front, but you don't need to. So 9y to the 4th, and then just all of these answers. Negative 5x to the 4th, negative 3y xz squared. I just changed the order so it was xyz plus y squared because the 9's cancel. That's it. Page over. X plus 6, x plus 7, q plus 21, r, q minus 4r. Because I changed the order there to mess with you. No, I didn't. That's right. I didn't change the order there. 3y squared minus 6y plus 8. If you got to there, you get a half mark because it's 3y minus 4y minus 2. 2a minus 7. 3b minus 4. And x minus 4. No, I lied. Sorry. 4 minus x and x minus 3. That page is out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10 on the front makes that a 15. Yes, Jazzkarn. How about we talk about it after the break? Go. Yep. Sorry? Number 2 on the front. What about it? You can't do anything more with that. Those aren't squares. And it's plus. Okay, so ask questions now. If not, put a total out of 15, your other total out of 25, and hand it in to me so I can record the marks. Erlen. Which one? 6 on the back page. This one? You divided out the common factor, which was 8a. Okay. Any other questions? Jazzcarm, which one was yours?
I got 3 minus x bracket x minus 4. Does that work or no?
No. Here's why. You need to change this factor to be this, right? So that means you would have had to divide out a negative 1, right? So negative 1 comes to the front. That makes a negative x, yeah? Then x minus 3 plus 4x minus 3. Now here's your common factor, right? So x minus 3. But your other one had to have a negative x. You could have written negative x plus 4. That's just ugly, so we put the 4 in front. But you needed a negative x because you brought a negative 1 out of here to get the full marks. Okay, remember, when you hand this in, there should be 2 numbers on it. 2 fractions. 1 out of 25 for your assignments, 1 out of 15 for your quiz. As soon as you guys are doing work time, I'll record these and get them back to you. Yeah, take a half mark because you did part of what you knew you had to change one of those factors. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Indy. Sure, Erlen. If you've done something, you can have half a mark. Thanks. Is that everybody? It was a long walk, eh, Vikram? $15. Right there. Thank you. Thanks, Amarit. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, what is highlighted in yellow is that factored or expanded form. That is factored form because that is factor 1 times factor 2. And if I wanted it in expanded form, we would do distribution, also called FOIL, and we would get x squared plus 10x plus 24. Right? Right? And if I wanted you to factor this, of course, you would want numbers that multiplied to 24 and added to 10. And then we would get the 4 and the 6. Everybody can do that, right? Okay. This right here, factored form. The expanded form is, of course, double distribution, 6x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 2, which would get me 6x squared minus x minus 2. Now, you people are intelligent people. Grade 9s, you won't have seen this. Grade 10s, you will have. If that is factored form and that is expanded form, there must be a way to get from this factored back to here, right? Now, if we look at what I've highlighted in blue here, all the things that we have factored do not look like that, do they? We do not know what to do when there's a number there. Some of you will say, yeah, sure we do. We divide it out. We GCF it. But is there a GCF here? No. So if we are faced with this and you're in the 9th grade, you have no idea what to do. If you were in the 10th grade, you've been taught a method, maybe 2 methods of how to factor this. Okay? I personally know of 4. I use 1. There is one of those 4 is one I don't really know how to use. It was never taught to me ever, and I never found it in my research in trying to make this easier for students. So one of the 4 ways I won't even be showing you because I don't know it. But the other 3, I'm going to show you all 3, and you are going to choose the one that works for you. Everybody understand? Now, I'm going to leave all this blank because here is where I want you to write down the method that works for you. Okay? Everybody understand? So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it on a new page, 6x squared minus x minus 2. This is what we are factoring. You don't need to write anything down right now. All of you that were in grade 10 have a method for factoring this right now already. One of the 3 that I'm going to show you is probably going to be the method that you know. But like I say, they can be a little complex. So I'm going to show you all 3. I'm going to show you the 2 that you probably know first. One of them is what is called decomposition. Again, you do not need to write this down. I'm going to come back to the screen and let you choose. Okay? Just watch so you can just pay attention to that. If I want to factor this, what about it bothers me? It's this right here, yes? Because if there was no 6 there, we could do it, couldn't we? Right? We'd want numbers that multiplied. For example, if I give you this, x squared plus 7x plus 12, we would know we would want numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7, correct? Right? Okay. So in this problem here, though, we have a number there. Normally, that number is 1, correct? Well, now it's not 1. Now it's 6 times 1. Everybody understand? Now, in this example, we needed to multiply to 12, right? And add to 7, right? Okay. Well, in this example, we need something that is 6 times bigger than 1, don't we? So instead of multiplying to 2, we need that to also be 6 times bigger. Everybody cool? So now we need to multiply to negative 12. But we don't need to change this. We are still going to add to negative 1. Is everybody cool? The reason for this is because when we FOIL at the end, the last thing is going to be 6 times bigger. So we're going to keep it this way. This part hasn't changed. So the first thing I need to do when I'm faced with this number here, if I can't get rid of it, I have to multiply the last number by the same thing. And then we're at this phase, which is the exact same as how we know how to factor. Is everybody with me to there? Okay, now it's going to change. In decomposition, and I'm going to write this in red, what we then do is we decide on the numbers. That is step 1. What are the numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 1? Is it 1 and 12? Is it 2 and 6? Is it 3 and 4? It is 3 and 4, right? How do I make 3 and 4 get to negative 1? Negative 4 plus 3. Everyone agree? Okay. So step 1, we decided the numbers. Step 2, we rewrite with the factors instead of x. So 6x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 2. Now, does everybody understand that this and this are exactly the same? Because negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Is everybody good? Yeah? Everyone's good? Okay. C. Group into 2 binomials. So I'm going to have 6x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 2. Step D is factor each binomial. So, what is the common factor of 6x squared and 4x? 2x. So 2x comes out, and that leaves me with 3x plus 2. Right? Right? Everybody good? And over here, what's coming out there? Is there anything common? Is there anything common? Is there anything common? He waited patiently. No. So what is common always? 1, right? So I'm going to bring out a 1. So remember back to what we're dealing with, right? So we take out a 1, and that leaves in there 3x minus 2. Oh, this is minus 2. Now, what do you notice there and there? They're common factors, right? So the last step factor out the GCF. 3x minus 2 and 2x plus 1. How many of you in grade 10 have seen that method? I know that if you went to Mowat, you've seen that method, because I know the guy at Mowat that teaches Math 10, who teaches a lot of Math 10, he uses that method. How many of you have seen that? Okay. Have you seen any other methods? No. Okay. So look at how many steps this takes, and it's kind of weird. Everyone agree? You're doing weird stuff. Everyone cool? Okay. So that's one method. Now this method is okay, but it's not my favorite. The second method is what a lot of people call the box method. And in the box method, you do this. 6x squared minus x minus 2. You say to yourself, okay, I know at the end of it all I'm going to have to FOIL, right? So I'm going to need stuff that multiplies A plus B, C plus D. I'm going to have to multiply A and C, A and D, B and C, and B and D, right? So I know I need 4 numbers, yes? So 2 of those numbers in the box method, I need factors of 6, and I need factors of 2. What are the factors of 6? What are the numbers that can multiply together to make 6? It's either 1 and 6 or 2 and 3, correct? What are the numbers that multiply together to make 2? It's only 1 and 2, right? So 1 and 2. 1 and 2. I don't like this method, and you'll see why in a minute. I've set up this box, yes? Now you go across the box. What is 1 times 2? 2. What is 1 times 6? 6. Do 6 and 2 add up to 1? No. So this one is no good. What's 2 times 2? 4. What's 3 times 1? Can 4 and 3 make negative 1? Yes. So this is the setup we need. But I need negative 1, right? So I need this 4 to be negative, correct? Which means this I need this 1 up top to be negative. Now I go straight across. 2x minus 1. I was right the first time. Down here it's negative, so it's 2x plus 1, because 2 and positive 1, and 3 and negative 2. 3x minus 2. How many of you have seen this method? Nobody? Oh, thank goodness. I hate this method. I cannot stand this method because it makes you guess. And should we guess in math to find an actual answer? No. I don't like this method. Everybody cool? All right. Now, how many of you are in grade 10? Just in grade 10. Like you just finished grade 10. Almost all of you. And yet only 4 of you put your hand up for this. So there must be another way of which I do not know that you know. So if you were in grade 10 last year, how do you factor that if you don't use the red and you don't use the blue? What method do you use? Somebody who was in grade 10. And not Avian, because Avian knows my method. So Indeep, you were just in grade 10. How did you factor these? Okay. So when I asked and you didn't know what I wanted you to do, it was complicated, right? So put up your hand if you've seen this. Well, I don't know. Put up my what? No? Oh, sorry. So I'll ask again. If you were in grade 10, did you use the red method? Put your hand up. Thank you. Nobody saw the blue method. Excellent. So who just did, you know the blue method, Sharon? Okay. So who in grade 10 used a different method than these two? Sevik, you were just in grade 10, weren't you? And you didn't put your hand up for either of these. Oh, you didn't do math 10. Okay. Oh, I didn't think about that. I forgot about that. You had to have done Form 10 to have seen this. If you didn't do Form 10, you haven't seen this. Does everybody see how they work? Okay. Remember, this one always works, but has a lot of steps. This one always works, but you have to guess. Now, it's real easy when it's 6 and 2, right? Because there's not many factors this could be, right? It's easy to see. Understand? But what if I had 20 and 12? Then it could be 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 5 and 4. And 12 could be 1 and 12, 2 and 6, or 3 and 4. You would have to try that many different boxes. And then you would have to decide which order these were in, if it was 6 and 1 or 1 and 6. Does everybody see why this is a problem? And yet still a lot of people like this method. I don't. Now, there they both are. I'm going to put them back on the screen in a minute. I'm going to show you a third method, which is the method I like to use. And I'm going to do it in purple, because purple is my favorite color. This is Meyer's method. It's not really. I stole it off the internet about 15 years ago. But I don't know what it's called. Because when I first started teaching math, this always caused kids problems. I would show them the blue method or the red method, and still half the kids like, I still don't get it. I can't do it. So I looked for new ways to do it, and I found this way, and I really like it, but I don't know what it's called. I don't know where it came from. I just like it. Okay? So we had 6x squared minus x minus, was it minus or plus 2? I don't remember. Minus 2. Okay. So we start the same way. We need to multiply to negative 12 and add to negative 1. Okay? Everybody good? What are those numbers? We already know it's minus 4 and positive 3, correct? So everybody is good to there. All the methods are the same to there. Now we're going to do my version. If there was no 6 there, the answer would be x minus 4 and x plus 3, correct? Right? So those are the numbers we'd be using. Yeah? Why do we know it's 4 and 3? Because we had to multiply to 12, right? How did we know we had to multiply to 12? We did 6 times 2, yeah? So when we're factoring, at some point we need to do some division, don't we? Right? If I want the factor to 12, we have to know what divides into 12, yes? So up to this point, have we done any division? No. We know that this 12 is only here because we multiplied by 6. So let's divide that 6 out of there. Now the 6 is gone. Correct? We multiplied at the beginning, we divided it out at the end. If you multiply by 6 and divide by 6, it's gone. Right? Okay. Would you ever leave either of those two fractions if you were in Mrs. Bad Crumble's class? No. What would you write this instead? Minus 2/3, correct? And what would this one be? X plus 1/2, correct? Does everyone agree? Okay. Now, when you see something like this, you're essentially done. I'm going to show you what you do now, and then I'm going to explain why it works. What you do when you simplify all those fractions is you take this number and you move it to the front. You take this number and you move it to the front. And you get 3x minus 2 and 2x plus 1. And that's the final answer. Done in really 2 steps instead of 5 or 6 boxes and 5 steps. Does everybody understand? Choose your method. I don't care what it is. Now, I did say I was going to show you why this worked, correct? Again, just pay attention. I'm going to do that in orange. Here I had x minus 2/3 and x plus 1/2, correct? If I FOIL this, there's my first. What is it? X squared. There's my outside plus 1/2 x, correct? There's my inside minus 2/3 x, correct? And my outside is minus 2/6. Does everyone agree? Right? Okay. Now, we wouldn't leave it like this. We'll sort it out. X squared. 1/2 is 3/6. 2/3 is minus 4/6. Right? 3/6 minus 4/6 is x squared minus 1/6 x. Agreed? And 2/6. Are we cool to there? Okay. How would I get rid of this divide by 6 and this divide by 6? I would multiply this by 6, right? 6x squared, 6's cancel, minus x, 6's cancel, minus 2. And there is my original trinomial. That is why it works. Everybody understand? Everybody understand? So I don't care what method you choose, but choose one of them. What works for you? Either the red one, the blue one, or the purple one. Remember, in the purple one, you don't need anything in orange. You only need the purple stuff. You may not know what method works for you. You may want to practice it out a bit. I got a bunch of questions back on the page that we're going to use to practice. So let's go back to that page. Remember, I've left this blank for you to decide. And I will do each of these. I'll do 1, 2, and 3 in each of the methods. Is that okay? Will that work for everyone? Okay. This method is actually really good. This one is not bad for the blue method. And the other two don't really matter. The red method, and then I'll use the purple method there. Okay? So if I was going to do the blue method, on one side, I need factors of 20, and on the other side, I need factors of 10. What are the factors of 20? 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 5 and 4. Correct? Everyone agree? So I would need to have 1 and 20, and this side could be 1 and 10, right? 1 times 10 is 10, 20 times 1 is 20. Does 10 and 20 make 33? No, so it can't be that. Let's try 4 and 5 and 5 and 2. I'll get it. Go for Myers. 8. Okay. I'll get, they've already sent out an email to everybody saying it won't staple, and I think I'm the only person that knows apparently there. So, we already know. I would follow. Okay, thanks, buddy. Bye. All right, so let's check this one. Does this one work? What is 4 and 2? 8. What is 5 and 5? 25. Does 8 and 25 make 33? Does it? So we're done. So now I go straight across. 4 times 5, 4x plus 5, and straight across here, 5x plus 2. And then I check. 4 times 5 is 20. I'm good, except it's not x, it's b. 4 times 5 is 20, and 5 times 2 is 10. If the outsides work, the middle works. Everybody cool? I don't like that method. Why don't I like that method? Because I had to try more than one thing. Right? This method is essentially guessing. Should we guess in math if we know how to do something? No. That's why I don't like it. Let's go to the red method. This was decomposition. This is what most of you have been taught. Step 1, multiply. I need to multiply to negative 30 and add to negative 13. What is it? Is it 1 and 30? Is it 1 and 30? No. Is it 2 and 15? Will 2 and 15 make 13? Yeah. But so will 3 and 10, correct? Which one will make negative 13? If it's 10 and 3, it has to be negative 10 and negative 13, doesn't it? Or negative 3. Negative 10 and negative 3 is not negative 30, is it, when we multiply? So it can't be 10 and 3. So we know I'm doing 15 and 2. How do I get negative 13? Which one of them has to be negative? The 15. So I'm going to have 3s squared minus 15s plus 2s minus 10. Then I group it. Take out what comes out of here. 3s. Leaving s minus 5. What comes out of here? 2. Leaving s minus 5. Common factor, s minus 5. 3s plus 2, s minus 5. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, and I'm right. Is everybody good with the red method? Or if you're going to use the red method. So we had the blue answer right there using the box. We had the red method using decomposition. And then I'm going to use purple to do my method. My method, first thing I'm going to look at here is, wait a minute, 6, 21, and 9. Can I do something with that? What? I can GCF. What's coming out? 3. So I'm going to have 3, 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. Correct? Now I only care about that part. So to do my method, I have to bring that over and I have to multiply to 6 and add to negative 7. What is it? Is it 1 and 6 or is it 2 and 3? It's 1 and 6. And they both got to be negative, right? So I'm going to have 3x minus 1, x minus 6. And I've left an empty space here. Why? Because the only reason I know it's 1 and 6 is because I multiplied by 2, correct? So what must I do now? I got to divide by 2. Does that fraction get any easier? No. Does that fraction get any easier? What's 6 divided by 2? 3. So that becomes 3. Now, once they're simplified, all I do is any denominators move to the front. 3, 2x minus 1, x minus 3. And then I check. Is 2 times 1, 2? Yep. Is negative 1 times negative 3 positive 3? Yep. So I know I'm right. Is everybody good with one of the methods? Obviously, you'd need to practice it, especially if you haven't seen this before. So everyone in grade 9 and anybody that did A&W 10, you've never seen this, right? Everybody who's done Form 10 has seen this. But you need to make a choice now for what one you're going to use. I use the purple one. I find it uses the least amount of space and it gets the job done fastest. But I don't care what method you use. Everybody good? Erlen. Yes. You always do that. That's the same in both. So, you all have your own method, whatever you want to do. I'm going to work with the purple one because that's the way I like to do these. All right? But I don't care how you do it. So my first step is that, which means I need to multiply to what? Negative 40 and add to what? Negative 18. Is it 1 and 40? Is it 2 and 20? Yes. How will I get 2 and 20 to negative 18? It's got to be negative 20 and positive 2, correct? So it's p minus 20, but it's not really p minus 20. What is it really? P minus 20 over 8, because I multiplied that 8. And p plus 2, but it's not really plus 2. What is it really? 2 over 8. Now I see two yucky fractions. Fix them. What is that one? 10 over 4. But that gets even easier. To 5 over 2, right? 5 over 2. What's this one? 1/4. Have I simplified? So my last step is just bring the denominators forward. 2p minus 5, 4p plus 1. And then I check. Is 2 times 4, 8? Is negative 5 times positive 1, negative 5? So I'm right. Now you have to tell me, how do you want me to do the rest of this page? Do you want to keep with the one you know? Do you want me to keep using purple? Do you want me to go to the blue one? Because I can work in all three. I like the purple one. Once you practice it once or twice, you find it very, very quick. I've been teaching math for 20 years. 99 kids out of 100 eventually change their minds and go to the purple one. If you want to be that one kid in 100 that doesn't, I don't mind you using that. So, should I carry on with purple? Okay. So, what can I do here? I'm going to take something out. What's coming out? 4. So I'm going to have 4, 6h squared minus 5h minus 6, right? First step is do that multiply. What do I have to multiply to? Negative 36. What do I have to add to? Negative 5. Is it 1 and 36? Is it 2 and 18? Is it 3 and 12? Is it 4 and 9? Yep. How will 4 and 9 get me to negative 5? 4 minus 9. So I have 4, h plus 4. But it's not really plus 4. What's it really? Right, Trinity, 4 over 6. And I'm going to leave an empty space so I can simplify. And h minus 9. But it's not really minus 9. What is it really? 9 over 6. And I'm going to leave a space to simplify. Does that simplify? To what? 2/3. Does that simplify? To what? 3/2. Once I simplify, what do I do with the denominators? They move to the front. 3h plus 2 and 2h minus 3. 3 times 2, is that 6? Yep. 2 times 3, is that negative 6? So are we right? Yes. Is everybody good? Now, again, I'm not trying to be pushy. You can do whatever method you want. But the purple one is fast and it's accurate. Right? Blue one, you could try 5 or 6 different boxes before you got to the right one. And the red one just takes a long time. It's no better, it just takes longer. So what's this guy going to be? I bring that over first. Well, no, first I check for GCF. Is there one? Nope. So I bring that 2 over, and I need to multiply to what? 12, and add to what? 13. Is it 12 and 1? Yep. 12 plus plus 12 plus 1. So it is n plus 12, but it's not really plus 12. It's 12 over 2. Leave a space to simplify. N plus 1, but it's not really plus 1. It's 1 over 2. Leave a space to simplify. Does this simplify to what? 6. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Does this simplify? No. So any leftover denominators go where? To the front. N plus 6, 2n plus 1. And then I check. Is n times 2n 2n squared? Yeah, sure, you betcha. Is 6 times 1 6? Yeah, sure, you betcha. If the edges are right, the middle's right. Everybody got it? What's 7? What do I got to multiply to? 12, what do I got to add to? What is it? 6 and 2. T plus 6, but it's not really plus 6. 6 over 3. And t plus 2, but it's not really plus 2, it's 2 over 3. Simplify. Does that one simplify? To 2. Does that one simplify? Nope. So what do you do with any leftover denominators? To the front. T times 3t. Is that 3t squared? Yeah, sure, you betcha. 2 times 2. Is that 4? Yeah, sure, you betcha. If the outsides are right, the middle's right. 18. What do I got to check for GCF? Is there one? So what do I multiply to? 14. What do I add to? 15. What is it? 14 and 1. M plus 14. But it's not really plus 14. Over 2. M plus 1. But it's not really plus 1. Over 2. Simplify. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Any remaining denominators go to the front. M plus 7. 2m plus 1. Is m times 2m 2m squared? Yeah, sure, you betcha. Is 7 times 1 7? Yeah, sure, you betcha. If the edges are right, the middle is right. Any problems? You guys do... I'm going to stop talking now until number 15. 15, 16, and 18, and 19 I want to talk about. The rest of that you're going to do on your own, and then you're going to do an assignment. Okay? Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to do these ones I've circled. Then I'm going to let you do the 4 or 5 that aren't circled. Then I'm going to show you those right answers so you know what you're doing. Then you're going to try your assignment. While you're working on your assignment, I'll be entering these quiz marks. Then I'll give these back to you. Everybody good? Okay. So let's look at 16, 17, 18, or 15, 16, 18, and 19. Go straight to 15. What makes that ugly? Why don't you like it? You don't like that bracket, do you? What is the method I gave you to fix that up? Change it out so it looks pretty. I am going to make the letter Q equal x minus 7. So what does that mean? That means everywhere I see x minus 7, I can write the letter Q. Q squared minus 81. That's easy to factor, isn't it? Is that a perfect square? Yep. Is that a perfect square? Yep. So it's going to be Q plus 9 and Q minus 9. Correct? Does everyone agree? Everyone understands that step? Is there a Q anywhere in the original equation? No. So can there be a Q in the answer? No. So I got to fix it up. What is Q? X minus 7 plus 9. What is Q? X minus 7 minus 9. What is minus 7 plus 9? X plus 2. What is minus 7 minus 9? X minus 16. And now I'm done. Does everybody see? Everyone's good? Okay. Let's look at 16. What makes it ugly? There's 2, right? So can I use just one letter over here? No, because they're different, don't I? If I make that A and I make that B, that's A squared minus B squared, correct? Everyone agree? Is that a perfect square? Is that a perfect square? So if I factor that, it's got to be A plus B, right? And then A minus B, right? Because the square root of A squared is A. Everyone agree? But what is A really? 2x plus 3 plus, what's B really? 4x minus 7. That covers this one. I'm going to highlight that green. I'm going to highlight that green because they're the same thing. Everyone agree? Everyone agree? Okay. Then what is the next one? A, 2x plus 3 minus 4x minus 7. Now I'm going to highlight them in yellow. Is everybody cool to there? Okay, now even the grade 9s will know this. What do I do when I see x and another x? Can I put them together? Sure I can. What is 2x's plus 4x's? 6x's. What is 3 plus negative 7? Negative 4. Cool? Now go to the yellow side. What is 2 minus 4x? Negative 2x. And what is 3 minus 7? Positive 10. Now, I have to look at that and see if I can factor it. Is there anything that comes out of 6 and 4? 2. So 2 out front, 3x minus 2, correct? Is there anything that comes out of there? I would bring a minus 2, right? Minus 2, so I got to put a minus 2 out there. That's going to be x minus 5, correct? What do I do with those two numbers at the front? Why do I multiply them, Zach? Because they're coefficients. There's no sign between them, just like when we're doing radicals. So the answer here is negative 4, 3x minus 2, x minus 5. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is easy to see how it works. But for some reason, a lot of teachers don't show you this until you get into more complicated math. I like to show it to you now so you can practice when it's easy. Right? Why learn something new when you're also doing something complicated? If you can learn this when it's easy, then it's already right there ready for you when you want to try something new. Everybody good? All right. Now let's have a look at how what we've just learned will help us with 18. What do you notice about that and that? They're the same thing. So can I do this move? I could say A equals 2x plus 7, correct? Which means what would I have there? No. A is 2x plus 7, Jimmy. So what would I have there? A squared plus 8a plus 12. And we can factor that in our sleep, can't we? By now, what do I got to do? I got to multiply to what? And add to what? What is it? 2 and 6. A plus 2, A plus 6. But what's A? 2x plus 7 plus 2. What's A? 2x plus 7 plus 6. What is 2x plus 7 plus 2? 2x plus 9. What is 2x plus 7 plus 6? 2x plus 13. And it's done. Everybody with me? Now, a lot of you might very well be shown to FOIL that, expand that, then collect your like terms, and then factor. How many steps is that? A crap ton. How many steps is this? 2. Make a substitution, factor it. Right? 3. Factor it, and then put your A back in. So what are we going to do for 19? What do you notice? They're the same, so can I sub them out? Do I have to use A, or can I use any letter I want? Any letter you want, just not that. So I'm going to use P. P equals 4x plus 3. So what do I have there now? Wait. It's P, so I'm going to do it in yellow. Get it? See what I did there? Because it's P. You guys ever hear that joke? It's how you catch an elephant. You dig a big hole, and you plant peas in it. When the elephant comes up to take a pea, you kick him in the hole. Get it? That joke's actually naughtier, but I didn't want to put in the naughty parts. So I left it at that. So anyway, what do I have here really? P squared. Is yellow visible on the screen? Oh yeah. Minus what? 4p minus 45. And we can factor that in our sleep, right? What is it? What do I got to multiply to? Negative 45. What do I got to add to? Negative 4. Is it 1 and 45? Is it 3 and 15? Is it 9 and 5? How do 9 and 5 get me to negative 4? Negative 9's got to be negative. So P minus 9 and P plus 5. But I'm not done, am I? Because there's no P's in the original question. What do I got to write instead of P? 4x plus 3 minus 9 and 4x plus 3 plus 5. What is 4x plus 3 minus 9? 4x minus 6. What is 4x plus 3 plus 5? 4x plus 8. How many of you think we're done? Be honest. How many of you would stop there? We've done a lot of work. How many of you would stop? A few of you, right? And if you stopped there and I was marking this question out of 3, I would give you 2.5 out of 3. How do you get that last bit? What's common between 4x and 6? I would bring out a 2. What's common here? I would bring out a 2. That 2 goes to the front. That 2 goes to the front. Yeah, but 4 isn't common here. So you got to go bit by bit. 2 and another 2. 2x minus 3 and 2x plus 4. Oh, wait. I see what you're saying, Josh. You're going to bring that 4 out there. Yeah, so you got a 4 out front. And that's going to get me x plus 2. What do I do with the 4 and the 2? 8. 2x minus 3, x plus 2. That is about the third hardest question I could give you. It's got the third most amount of work. Pardon? Yeah. Let me show you what I mean by that. I could go, you've already seen that. The only thing more I could do to you, I could do this. 6 x plus 4 squared minus x plus 4 minus 2. I could do that to you. What would you do with that x4? What would you make it? Something else. 6b squared minus b minus 2, which we already know how to factor, don't we? It's the very first one we did today. I would use the purple method, the blue method, or the red method, factor that, and put the b back in. Everybody understand? That is the hardest question I would ever give you 4 marks. Everybody understand? I might give you something a little bit harder as a bonus. Okay? I could go one step crazier. I could do this. 6 x squared plus 7x plus 12 squared minus x squared plus 7x plus 12 minus 2. I could do that. Why is that crazy? Well, you would still substitute. You'd still get 6b and b, but then what would you have to do with b at the very end? You'd have to factor that, which is crazy. Crazy. I would never do that to you, except for bonus marks. Everybody understand? Everybody cool? All right, now, so you're going to work on your last assignment, which is page 139, correct? You're going to work on that until 10:55. All right? After that break, you'll notice on page 140 it's blank, right? Would I ever leave that much blank white space if I didn't have something to show you? Okay, I'm going to show you something on page 140, and then we're going to be done with this unit, and we will be having our test on it tomorrow because there's no review. Everybody good? And since this is the end of unit 4, we will have a cumulative on Thursday to fix unit 3 and unit 4. Everybody good? After the break, we will move on to unit 5. I'm going to do these 6 questions, then I'm going to show you guys one more thing, then I'm going to shut up and let you finish page 139, which I want done by, well, we'll see when we finish what I want to show you. Okay? So this one. Now, this one Erlen asked about, because it looks weird, right? There's a 4 and a 2. But if it was 9t squared plus 12t plus 4, you could do it. So just do it. 9 times 4, you got to multiply to 36 and add to 12. What is it? 6 and 6, right? So it's t plus 6 over 9 and t plus 6 over 9, which is 2/3, 3t plus 2, 3t plus 2. Except 3t and 3t have to make 9t to the 4th. So how do I make that happen? I just square them. And now it's done. Multiply to -8, add to -7, it's 8 and 1. Y plus 1 over 2, y minus 8 over 2. Simplify to 4, 2y plus 1, y minus 4. multiply to 18, add to 11, n plus 9 over 6, n plus 2 over 6, simplify to 3 over 2, simplify to 1 over 3, 2n plus 3, 3n plus 1. Multiply to negative 40, add to 3, 8 and minus 5, m plus 8 over 4, m plus, I lie, m minus 5 over 4, simplify to m plus 2 and 4m minus 5. Now, right there I want to stop for a second to remind you of this. Does it matter which binomial goes first? No. Does it matter which one is positive 2 and which one is negative 5? Yes, that matters. Because it can't be m minus 5 and 4m plus 2. Okay? The whole groups need to be the same, but the groups can be in any order. Multiply to 4. Add to negative 2. Add to 4. Add to negative 4. A minus 2 over 4. A minus 2 over 4. Simplify. 2a minus 1. 2a minus 1. But of course, 2a minus 1 squared. And y plus 7. Y minus 7. Everybody good? All right. Everybody please skip 139 and go to that blank page on 140. Can you solve this? Can you solve this? No. You can simplify it to x plus 3 and x plus 4, correct? But you cannot tell me what x is, can you? Why not? Because it doesn't equal anything, right? You cannot tell me what x is. Because if you were going to solve it, you would tell me x equals whatever x equals. But you can't do that, right? Because without an equal sign there, x can be any number, can't it? If I told you x was 2, then this would be 4 plus 14 plus 12 would be 30, wouldn't it? Right? Everyone agree? Yeah? Okay. So this blank page is when we talk about how we use this knowledge to get us actual answers. Understand what I'm talking about? So, you're all aware from the 9th grade that if I were to give you this, y equals 3x plus 1, you could put that on a graph, right? Y'all remember this, yeah? And the graph would look something like this. And it would make a nice straight line, right? You've all seen that. Okay? In the real world, are things usually straight? No, they're not. Right? If I throw a ball up into the air, for example, it does not follow a straight line, does it? So, what we use this math for is it's for physics. So, for example, if I throw a baseball, that baseball would follow a curve, right? This math solves these curves. All right? So, for example, if I threw this baseball, down here is time, up here is height. So this says when I threw the baseball, it was this far off the ground. It went slightly up in the air, and then it went down. And what happened right there? Pardon? It hit the ground. And it takes a certain amount of time to get down to a height of 0. Everybody understand? This is what our next unit is about. It's about this stuff. So this math tells us how to find the time when I equal a certain height. Everybody got it? So now, instead of x squared plus 7x plus 12 equaling nothing, now it can equal something. And now we could solve it. Does everybody understand? So for example, I don't want to use height and time. I'll use P and Q. So the only thing we're doing is going one step further from this. All right? If I tell you that this math, Q equals the grapple grommets that my factory can make. Okay? P equals the amount of people working that day. Everybody understand? Grapple grommets aren't a real thing, so don't worry about it. P is the amount of people working. Now what this says is if I have one person working, how many grapple grommets can I make? What would go in for P? What would go in for P? 1, right? So that would be 1 squared, which is 1, plus 7 times 1, which is 7. So 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 12 would give me how many grapple grommets that day? 20. Does everybody understand? Is everybody good? Everybody good? Okay. So let me ask you this. If I need let me do some quick math in my head. If I need if I need 4 grapple grommets, how many people need to work that day? So where does the 4 go? 4 goes in place of Q. P squared plus 7P plus 12. Now it equals 4. Right? Everyone agree? I've got an order for 4 grapple grommets. What's my job anytime I see algebra? Get the letter by itself, correct? Can I put P squared with P? Yes or no? Are they like terms? Can I add them? No. So I have to do some math. Here's how we do it. What happens if I move that 4 over here? I would get P squared plus 7P plus 8, right? Because this becomes negative 4. Is everybody with me? What did I leave over here? 0. Is everybody cool? Okay. Does this look like something we can do math with? Does, doesn't it? What would you do with that? You would factor it. You should just whispered that word. So I would need numbers that multiply to 8 and add to 7. Do they exist? Do they exist? They're both positive. Do they exist? No, they don't, do they? So I can't factor this. In grade 11, you'll learn what to do with this when you can't factor it. But let's make it so we can factor it. Let's say that was minus 4. And I bring that 4 over here. Now it's minus 8, correct? Everybody with me? Okay. Factor that. Are there factors of negative 8 that add to 7? What are they? P plus 8, right? And P minus 1, correct? And that equals what? 0, right? Is everybody cool to there? This is a little bit bonusy, but it's also kind of not, because this is what we use this math for. Now, this question says that is factor 1 and that is factor 2, correct? And that says factor 1 times factor 2 equals 0. Is everybody with me? For this to be true, then one of those two factors must equal 0, yes? Everyone agree? Is everyone following my logic there? For this to be true, then P plus 8 must equal 0, or P minus 1 must equal 0. Does everybody agree? Right? In the red, P would equal negative 8, right? In the green, P would equal positive 1. Agreed? Which of those is the answer to my question? The question was, I got to make 4 grapple grommets today. How many people do I need to have on shift? 1. Why? The answer is negative 8 or 1. Can I have negative 8 people working? It can only be 1. Does everybody understand? That is how we take the factoring math that we know how to do and apply it to real life. We factor the equations and then we pick the answer that makes sense. Because I can't have negative 8 people working, can I? Everybody understand? Up to here is what you need to know for grade 10. What you need to know. This is where you're going to take it. But you can see that it's not even really a full step later, is it? It's taken this and equaling 0. Is everybody with me? Should I show you one more of these? Because like I say, this is where you're going. Because everybody likes to know a real life use for stuff, right? Factoring doesn't have a lot of real life use except for this type of thing. Let's try one more just to make sure. So I don't screw it up like I did with that 4 and that 8. Give me 1 second. I'll pick a question out of here that somebody else has done some research on. Okay. So let me give you one. Okay, so this equation mimics the curve of somebody jumping off a cliff. Okay? Height and time. Everybody agree? Okay. So a question that you could be asked is, how long till I hit the water if the cliff is is 98 feet high. So how are we going to solve this? Talk to your neighbor if you need to about math. No. So height equals this. So where can I put in some numbers to make this work for me? Pardon me, Jason? 98 for height. So now 98 equals t squared minus 16t plus 40. Oh, wait, make it 88 feet. I did bad math in my head. 88 feet. Now what? I want to get t by itself, yeah? But I can't put those together. But I know how to get stuff by itself when it's a trinomial, right? So let's keep it a trinomial. Should I move the 40 or should I move the 88? What keeps it as a trinomial? Move the 88, okay? When I move 88 over here, what do? Right now it was positive. What do I do over here? Subtract 88. So now I have t squared, t squared minus 16t. What's 40 minus 88? Negative 48. And all that equals what? 0. What can I do with that? Factor it, right? So, how do I factor that? What do I need to multiply to? Negative 48. What do I need to add to? Negative 16. What is it? What is it? Right. minus 12 and t minus 4 equals 0, correct? Everybody agree? Okay. Now, for that to be true, then either t minus 12 has to equal 0 or t minus 4 has to equal 0, correct? Right? So t equals 12 or t equals 4. Right? So I have two possible times for when I hit the water, or when I am at from 88 feet, right? So those are my possible answers. Now, if this question was written properly, not out of my head, then one of those would be negative, right? Is that a possible answer? Can you have negative time? No. So one of them would be the answer. The problem with these is in the grade 10 textbooks, there's none of these questions. So I'm making them up out of my head. And I'm trying to do all the factoring in my head. I should have made this positive 16. And then we could have done it. But the math is what's important here. Knowing how to go from this to getting some actual values. Can everybody do that? That's what's important here. To understand this part. Which is like a millimeter past grade 10. But the very first day of grade 11, you're going to be expected to know how to do this. But we don't actually teach you it in grade 10. You picking up what I'm putting down? So I'm showing you now. Everybody good? This will show up as a bonus somewhere. If you could actually work with this stuff. Okay? Everybody good? All right. Please finish 139 now. It is your last assignment. It will be out of 15. Yeah. Page 139, your last thing for marks in this unit. Before we move it along. What's the first one? He waited patiently. 5x plus 2 and x plus 1. Number 2. Who's going to give me one? These are all slightly difficult, so nobody wants to give me one. Erlen. X plus 2 and 2x plus 3. Abso-smurfly correct. Who's doing number 3? Jazzcarn, hit me. X plus 3 and 6x minus 1. Nicely done. Tirath, number 4. Nice. Who's doing 5? Kira, hit me. I know you're not. You just wanted me to say, Kira, hit me so you could laugh. What is it? 6x minus 1. 2x minus 1. Absolutely correct. 6. Six is weird. What's weird about 6? It's in a weird order. Can you put it back in the right order? Negative 2y squared minus 7y plus 15. Now it's still weird. What's weird about it? Negative in front. So you take a negative out. 2y squared plus 7y minus 15. And now I need to multiply to negative 30 and add the 7, which is 10 minus 3. So it's y minus 3 over 2 and y plus 10 over 2, which is 2y minus 3 and y plus 5, with a negative out in front. Since nobody gave me that answer, I can only believe that everybody got only a half mark there, so nobody better report anything better than 14 and a half.
I didn't hold the negative out at the beginning. It got left in.
So what do you have?
In brackets, it's negative 2y plus 3 and then y plus
Negative 2y plus 3 and y plus 5. So negative 2 times that is negative 2y squared. Absolutely. 3 times 5 is 15. Yep, you could do that. I would accept that and allow it. 17. Or 7. What should you do first? GCF. Take out a 5. 3k squared plus k minus 2. So it is 3k minus 2 and k plus 1. Nice. 8. Does that y squared mean anything to you? No, it just means the second term, instead of being k plus 1 or minus 2, it's going to be plus 1y or minus 2y. So what's the answer? X minus 2y and 2x minus 1y. Well done. 9. N minus 5m and 2n plus 3m. Number 10. People not at number 10? Do people need more time? 2x minus 3. 3x minus 2. Oh, number 11. So difficult until you do what? Simplify it. You take out a 6. And you get 2s squared plus 11s plus 5. And now it's super easy. It is what? S plus 5 and 2s plus 1. This one? 9x minus 10. X plus 1. Uh-oh. 13's crazy. Except it's not. What do? Bring out an x. 4x squared minus 7x minus 2. What is it? 4x plus 1 and x minus 2. 8, 5, 22. No GCF, so it is 2d plus 5e. 4d plus 1e. And lastly, 2a plus 3b. No. and 2a minus 3b. 4a squared minus 6 plus 6. Oh, no, that's not right. I was wrong. It's plus b. No. I got to multiply to negative 36 and add to negative 9. It's 12 and 3. So it's a plus 3. So it's 4a plus 3b and a minus 3b. I think that's right. 4a squared, negative 9b squared, 4a... Crap, now I got to write it all out. Because apparently nobody has done it, because you've sat there with me not do it. What is it?
That answer that you wrote down.
Oh, you had that one? It was right? 4a minus b. No, 4a plus 3b and a minus 3b. 12a minus... Yep, that's right. That's out of 15. And I will collect that number from you on your test tomorrow. Because that's your review for this unit. Is everybody ready for... Now, just to remind you, your test tomorrow will have the following stuff on it. It will have x times a plus b, and so on. Single distribution. It will have x plus a times x times y plus b. Double distribution. It will have x plus a times x squared plus bx plus c. Binomial into trinomial. And it may even have x squared plus bx plus c times y squared plus cy plus d. Triple distribution. And it will have all the factorings. It will have GCF. It will have x squared plus bx plus c. It will have x squared minus y squared, and it will have a x squared plus bx plus c. It will have all those factorings. And to do this properly, of course, you need to remember everything from the first unit, first unit on numbers, which was square roots and exponents, because you can't know how to factor exponents if you don't know your exponent laws. Okay? That will be tomorrow's test. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Thursday, you will write a 3 and 4 cumulative, assuming I get your polynomial test marked and recorded and back to you tomorrow. Now, hopefully you will not make the same error you made with the roots and powers test and shut your pie holes when I'm going over it. Okay? Because, of course, you will notice when you ask me a question, what do? Shut up and listen to the question so I can explain it. So I would expect you to offer me the same courtesy. Aight? Okay. That is it for